lady was underutilized.
Uh,
Um, the one who does the sex and then she swallows them up in her hoo-ha.
I'm not sure how you pronounce her first name. I think it's Itide. Is because it's spelled Yetide. The Bedecky. I don't know what country she's from. She's beautiful. I was like, get
Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
it.
But I just, yeah, even in season 2, she wasn't,
Mm-mm.
they didn't use her that much. And I was like, oh, I really hope to see her like blossom in this show. But I think she was just there just to be like, we got
I
another
think they
one.
made her too larger than life. Like they gave her so much power, and then they were like, if we gave her all of the power she's supposed to have, she would nerf the situation. So it was like, then if we can't make her too powerful now, or we wouldn't have any more shows. So here we go.
Mhm. Who was the Indian god in the diner? Loved her. I can't think of her name. Let me see if I can look it up.
Was she Vishnu?
Was it Vishnu? It's
Find
the
it.
one with the 9 arms and the 2 faces. Let's see.
Maybe that's Kali. Let me see.
I think it's Kali, but I could be.
A minute.
I am
Did do
she's
something
Kali.
different with those. Oh, go ahead. I can
No,
stop
she's
now.
Kali. That was it.
Holly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I just see Mama G. I was like, okay.
I don't want to like reveal it until I'm actually finished with the story, but I do something different with those, and it's just taking, I guess, an opposite approach to what something originally was. Um, I'm trying to think of something else that is not something I'm working on.
So you
I,
just gonna tease us like that, and then be like,
yes,
"I'm not gonna tell you about it."
because I haven't necessarily seen it done like this.
Hmm.
Um, there was an inspiration for it. So there's like um, one one little thing done with it, but it wasn't like a story unto itself. So I mean, it could be that somebody else has done this already, like has a series based upon this thing, but I haven't run across it yet. So that's why I'm keeping it hush for right now. I'll tell y'all after, like once the live is over. But like for example, dragons. Um, dragons once upon a time, Western dragons anyway, they are just embodiments of destruction, greed, that sort of thing. So if that's the case, then turning that on its on the flip side and making them like good dragons, that's bringing something new to it by itself, just doing something opposite. Um, Another creature, I don't know, give me a creature. I'm drawing a
A
blank.
random creature.
We
Yeah,
got a whole bunch of them on this paper right here.
Medusa.
like okay, so she's a woman curse turned ugly that can turn people into stone when they look at her. So how would you be able to flip that into a more positive aspect? What do people turn into, or do she cure people when they look at her, or something like that? Maybe she could still stay ugly, but then she has the power to cure. That's bringing something new and fresh to it. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be anything like super significant. Just, okay, so what if she has the power to heal? Would you go near her then? Like she's hideous, you don't know, like because like we mentioned before, you know that it's that fear. You don't know what this thing is. So would you approach? Would you interact?
Yeah, so the Charmed reboot, we've talked about this before, but the Charmed reboot I think handled the Medusa legend very interestingly in that they made it where so we all know the Medusa was turned is cursed because she, again, a woman blamed for a man's mistake, had been raped in one of the goddess's temple. The goddess took issue with her and not the god. I think it was Poseidon or whomever raped her, and turned Medusa into what she became. And so in this legend, in the show, they had it where she Medusa had been turning people to stone that turned their back on her, or that turned away from her and didn't look at her, and like didn't see her trauma and didn't see the pain that she experienced from being raped, and that's who she was turning to stone. So they like stopped her and didn't kill her, going with like, maybe monsters have a heart and maybe not every monster is a monster, just like pure and simple, and maybe some can be redeemed. So they basically were like, I see you, I see your pain, I see your trauma, I'm not turning away from you. And then she turned back into like the total spoilers, everybody, so sorry, but like she turned back into like a human, and everybody that had been turned into stone was also turned back into human. So I think like humanizing these kind of myths, like humanizing vampires or humanizing creatures and myths that we've already seen as like villains, and maybe making it to where you understand them a little bit more is a good way, is a good approach, kind of like you said with dragons, or like flipping it on the head to where it's like they're bringing something good.
We don't necessarily view those monsters the same way as like our parents did or our grandparents did, like we view them as like friends and fellows, and like hoping and wishing to be one, when before they were those warning signs, and now it's like you see a vampire, you're like, I think,
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so different. It's weird how each generation has a new little twist, and I'm not necessarily sure if that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, it's great to read about them, but yeah, I still think that we should just remember like why they were created. Those little warning signs for everybody, which we could all use some nowadays in this crazy world. Oh, okay. The next question, which is really cool, I think. What show or book do you wish you would have thought of first? And how would you change it or put your spin on it?
Not that I would have thought of it first, but I would finish it. And that's the 12 Kingdoms, because I'm so irritated because I like this series so much, and it just seems like it's not going to get finished.
Oh, you gotta explain it. Like, what is it for people who don't know? Who wrote it?
Let me go find the link first. So the 12 basic, and I'll drop it in I'm just linking it to the IMDb page. So, but basically it's about this girl who gets selected by a Kirin to run a country in another world, and she has to like go through these trials and tribulations in order to become a really good ruler. So that's it in a nutshell. And it's just really cool because the world building is like really nice. If you want like a whole lot of action, there's not necessarily a whole lot of it. There is action, but it's more focused on her developing into like a really wonderful ruler.
Anybody else want to go first? I mean, go next.
Sheena.
I don't like this. Real. Okay. And I was hoping I'd go last because I was like, I don't know. If you've ever seen that movie, Dracula Untold, where they did the origin story of Dracula, there was supposed to have been a series where, and I think they ended up doing 3 of them, which was Dracula Untold, The Wolfman, and The Mummy. So what was supposed to have happened with those stories, I think there were going to be 6 monsters in all. They were going to show their basic origin story, and then they were going to do one big movie where they all teamed up to fight this one giant evil, because it's based on I believe the comic is from Vertigo. And so I was so avidly ready for them to continue and work with that series, because it's honestly such a good idea, because these are all monsters that we all kind of have ownership of. So we all know the Frankenstein monster. We all know Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But these are like they're all in our conscience as these are monsters that we all recognize. Like it really doesn't matter how old you are, you know who Dracula is, you know who the Wolfman is, you know who Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is. So they were going to put them in one large movie where, because some of these movies, you know, they take place back in like the 800s or Victorian era, but you know, they're monsters, so they survive. And I was so ready to see how they were going to make the culmination of all of those stories. And they ended up dropping the project. So I was just like,
Oh.
I was really bummed because I was really excited to see what they were going to do. But if I had any project, that would have been the project that I would have worked on or would have liked to have been a part of when they were building it. That and the DC Superman situation, I felt like I could
Girl.
like I feel like I could help, but
Same.
but
Same.
no shade.
We got some ideas.
I think if I had that chance, so there's a couple. So I think I would want to do like the origin story of the Slayer, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, just because I think there are so many that some of which we find out that like Spike killed, and then you know going from like the first Slayer all the way down to Buffy, and maybe then kind of teasing one of them like following her, and then Kendra as well, like can't leave her out, and Faith. I would want to do maybe like anthology style where you have one season or half a season dedicated to each kind of Slayer, and just giving the origin story like proper treatment. I think I would probably have wanted to redo the Charmed movie or the Charmed show differently. Definitely would have wanted to redo The Craft differently. I know that they remade it. I'm excited to see what they have done. I still very much hope that they don't have the sole Black character's storyline be so contingent upon her race. That is what irritated me about the first one, was that her entire everything was, oh, she was being bullied because she's Black. It wasn't like she has this trauma, like, of course she has a trauma around that, but it wasn't like she got in this car accident and she's burned and she has all this complex layering. It's like, oh, it's revenge. She's like the bride in Kill Bill, and this is why she's doing it. And then I feel like I had something else, but I'm with you on the Dracula Untold. I think that would have been like a really cool series.
The road not taken. I'm still so bummed about it. Like when I think about it, I'm like, guys, it was so good. Like, you know, when you see something that you like, you know, it's going to be awesome when they finish it, but then someone doesn't finish it, and you're just like, all of that wasted potential. How could y'all? Like, I feel like if you, as writers, and I'm talking to the people watching our show right now, as writers, if you have a story to tell or you're working on something, you owe it to everybody else in the world to put that story out. It's no longer yours, it's everyone else's, and you should let us pay for that, because we really want to read your stories. Like this, the Right Talk journey has, like I said, and when I said at the beginning, has introduced me to so many writers that I would not have ever had the opportunity to even read or hear of, because they're not mainstream. And I know that it's tiring, and that you're just like, oh my God, my book is not going anywhere. Just wait and keep writing and going, because once your book catches on, like it's going to catch on everywhere. Like your stories are that important, especially when there's so many people waiting to identify with your characters. Like what was it we posted in the group? Like, your book is the book that could be somebody's favorite, and you really do owe it to everyone to let them have that favorite. So like if she hadn't wrote Astera with Love to Astera with Love, I wouldn't have been able to like read that like chapter by chapter like 3 or 4 times. Like I enjoy the story, and I've noticed like when I read Tedra's book, I enjoy the story, and it's just, if I did not know them, I would not have gotten that chance. So please write and link us. Write and link us. Don't just write and then tag us when you write it. That way we can see it.
Yes, we got to be like ground floor. you know,
Yeah,
let us read it.
The book, the series that I wish I could finish, is two of them. One is the recent Power Ranger movie that came out. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I really liked it. We are still very much a Power Ranger household here. Um, so I really liked the movie. Yeah, it had lots of faults, but that's why I would choose to like redo it. You know what I mean? And like finish the series because we deserve to have Tommy come in, okay, and steal Kimberly away. Yes, we do. So, and
I
then
second that. Absolutely.
right, like how you gonna leave that ending and just have him, whatever. But my second one is the series that I found is one of the maybe the third series I started reading when I first got into like urban fantasy. It's called Night World by L.J. Smith. Um, and she crafted these beautiful like love stories. And I'm not, y'all know that I'm not a fan of the insta love, but these insta love books, like they made you want to believe that your true one soulmate is out there. And I haven't read them in a very long time, and I probably should like rectify that. But I love the series, and for whatever reason, I can't remember now. Like she didn't finish the fourth book, and I don't know if it will ever get finished. I'm not sure, like about like what her history is, like what's going on. Like I was keeping up with it then, but I haven't kept up with it for like years. But anyway, the books aren't finished, and there was only one more left to go. So I was like, if I could like ghostwrite that, I would do that. I love those books. I'm almost afraid to reread them because you know you love them so much that one time, then you read them like, oh, this is it.
Oh, I have one. Not that I wanted to have come up with the idea, but I will rewrite it. Cursed, cursed, cursed.
This is that Netflix show, right? I think we talked about last time.
That needs to get rewritten.
I don't even know if it needs to be necessarily rewritten because I haven't read the book that it was based on. The book might be
Well, the show needs to be
but
rewritten.
yeah, I feel like the show could have been executed because all of the actors were decent. Like it's like they had all of the tools, and then they were just like, so we're gonna rely on the visuals and not play up as much as the story, which the visuals were amazing. Like all the diversity was there, like everything that they needed was there, but then they were just like, we're just going to give them some of it, not it's that 80-20, but we're only going to give you the 20. So it was frustrating.
I think also I'd want to revive the show called Blood Ties. I think I mentioned it last time on Vampires, where it's like private detective, love triangle, Toronto PD officer, and a vampire who's supposed to be the son of King Henry VIII. 2 seasons, total cliffhanger. I would want to revive it and see more of what happens and who she ends up with, because obviously I want her to end up with a vampire, like clearly, but you know, I enjoy that, like, well, but maybe the other guy really is her soulmate too. Like I enjoy that. And this show I think did that very well, where you had your favorite, but the other one was still so endearing that you were like, well, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
they do a lot of Korean dramas where they have like the one who's clearly the guy, and the second choice is so amazing. You're just like, well, I mean, as consolation prizes go, maybe we could. But they're bad about that. I hate when they do that because you're like, oh, well, maybe she can have both. There's no reason. And you're like, oh, maybe she's not utilizing her time properly because I don't understand.
I mean, they could do a modern thing where she's just like, I'm going to enjoy all of my options, and you two can just continue to help me on all my cases, and that there it is there, and this is their life. That, see, again, we're going to redo this for the modern woman.
Like, there's options, please take one. Oh, I remember that show now. Like when you said it, I looked it up like, oh my God, I remember that one. Aw. That's another thing that I love about y'all. Like y'all make me remind me of stuff that I watched, and then I'm just like, I'll forget it, and then you mention it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. It's so great. I'm sorry if y'all hear the parrot in the background. Apparently, there's an intruder who's my sister, and it's just upset it. No, I don't know.
I heard it. I was just ignoring it. I was like, that's part of Sheena's household.
Yeah, it's my house is very extra, y'all. I'm sorry. It is.
So I didn't know what it was, but I thought, okay, well, maybe somebody is getting haunted. And if I just don't say anything, then I won't get haunted.
Gonna let me
I'm
get
just-
gas over here in the square. Like all of a sudden something was gonna come. Like you knew about it 30 minutes earlier, but you were like, nah, we're not gonna bring that up.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to end up in a horror movie.
Like, wow.
Oh, that's too funny.
Y'all see, they made a movie like that, kind of where it's like they're doing a seance via Zoom. The entire movie is filmed via Zoom and the actors' smartphones. And I think it's like the first quarantine film that it's like the entire film is Zoom and people's phones.
So how did they account for everybody being haunted? Because like if Tedra is the one with the Ouija board and she's over here getting the yes or no answers, how did they account for like all of us getting murked?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I saw the headline and was like, huh. Like I want to see maybe like a trailer to say I know what they did, but
Our next one is just talking about all of them, honestly. All the myths and legends that we may or may not know about. Anybody have any that they want to dish on that they're experts about? Tell us about your favorites. Tell us about which ones you haven't seen in books yet that you wish somebody would write, but it's not your thing. Anything and everything, I guess.
I
Don't let me interrupt.
like there's enough done with Indian folklore like jinns and genies. Like I wish someone from that culture, especially since they have so much of that basic knowledge, would do more with bringing those over into modern world. Because I like the whole idea of there being someone who gives you your one true wish or your ultimate wish, or maybe you're like you picked up an old Xbox somewhere and all of a sudden a genie pops out. I don't know. Like I need them to write stories where their folklore is like it shows up. Like I said, I like fantasy in unexpected places. So you're suddenly at the post office, you get some stamps out of a machine, and all of a sudden you get 3 wishes. Like this is what I need from people, and then I don't get enough of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think I would like to see yeah, I would say I like to say more Indian folklore. I think more like indigenous type folklore. Also maybe like things from like people that are native to Pacific Islands. That'd be pretty interesting as well. I really like myths on like shapeshifters. I love a good like shapeshifter, skinwalker kind of myth, or like a selkie where they can take their seal skin off and they become a beautiful person or whatever. And then like the creepy myths, right? Like I said, like the black-eyed kids, and then Slender Man, if we want to count that as a myth. Or like you guys are familiar with the concept of tulpas.
No.
So it's like a thought creation. So it's like so much collective thought around something that it essentially can create all of that energy creates this thing. And I think that's kind of what the idea of like Slender Man could be, is it's a tulpa, or like the Men in Black. I'm sure, like not the Will Smith version, but the creepier version, that they're actually tulpas created out of all of this collective thought energy. So maybe something fun like that could be cool, where it's like all of all of these people are thinking about something, they hear this legend, and then this thing is like born. Not just because of the legend, but because so many people were thinking of it.
I want to say some either shows or books did something similar, but usually it's in relation to gods, in that the gods have strength with people. A lot of people like pray to them and believe in them, but then as people start drifting away from them, they lose their power and end up eventually disappearing.
Yeah.
So there's something similar that happens. I want to say that was another concept, similar concept that I toyed with in that regard, since what are people called? Influencers are a thing now and really popular, and like movie stars or whatever, just popular people, really popular people, where in this particular world haven't really developed it yet. So, but it's more in modern day, and the more followers you have or whatever, the more power you have, and then these influencers or popular people can end up engaging in like combat. And I haven't worked out all the details, but so they are really desperate to keep their followers unless they go back to being something along the lines of mortals. So it's like, it's really, I would imagine that it's really intense, but something along those lines.
So you're gonna write that so we can read it, so I can.
You see what I'm talking about? Like that. That in a nutshell is what I'm talking about. So you're sitting there telling us this story, and we're all like, yeah. And you're just like, but nah, I ain't got nothing for you. Don't do that. That is not cool. Not cool, Brittny.
But it's like, it's so many ideas, and I want to sit down and give each one the attention that it deserves in order to develop it into an awesome, engaging story. But considering how busy life gets, I don't really have the time that I would like to have to invest in that like I want to. So that's why I just kind of have to sit on the back burner, and I just have to pick one and focus on that and hopefully get that done before moving on to something else.
I'm side-eyeing you, but since you're on like the bottom of my screen, it looks like I'm side-eyeing Amanda. And it isn't meant for you.
I think it's also cool, like, so I have a work, something that I plan to get to, where it's playing with like the 7 deadly sins and the 7 virtues, but they're like people, like the embodiment of them. And essentially one of them wants to go rogue and stop being a sin, and the other siblings are trying to like lure her back and stuff.
That's nice.
That'd be interesting. What if the twist is that in order for them to stop being a sin, that they have to get their counterpart from the virtue to become the sin?
Switch places.
Oh.
Yeah, that could be good. I think I have it right now where she's like she's friends with some of them, and one of them, and it's almost kind of like that's like her sponsor, almost, where like she's resisting tempting and doing all that stuff, and the virtue is like they have coffee every morning, and they're like, remember what we talked about last week, and all this kind of stuff.
Meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there like a bureaucracy where they have to like fill out a form? Because I totally need the whole filling out the form scene where she's like, okay, so my new name is going to be X. Like, I need that.
Yes.
My new job is like, I want it so bad. But then again, that's an idea that y'all are giving. Stop telling me y'all's idea if y'all not going to give me something to read. Please don't.
It's like they're like, it's Kevin.
I'm so
Well,
sick.
I gave you one thing to read.
Still side-eyeing you from above. Brittny. Still side-eyeing you from above.
But
so I have some ideas, or some books that I read that kind of like goes with some of the stuff that y'all were talking about. So I Bring the Fire. I think I mentioned this before on this show, but it's about it's about the Norse gods and their life, but one of the like one of Loki's like reincarnations, or some of his reincarnations are kind of like are some of the Indian gods. So that might be something y'all want to look into. I really love the series, like from start to finish. Um, Another one is Shadow Shaper, which they do the. I don't know if y'all have heard of that one before. Let me. I think I have it up. His name. By Daniel Jose Older. I think I'm saying that right. Basically, they like I haven't read the series in a while though, but the girl they like spray paint things on the wall, and they have the ability to manipulate that and to like help them like fight the bad people that's coming after them. So that's something different. And then the Wicked and the Divine, which is it's a more of a comic, but basically the gods get reincarnated, and they have all of these like most of them use their powers for like the fame and fortune and stuff like that, and they only have like I want to say it's 7 years, probably shorter, to like live like their best life and stuff like that, and then whoop, they die. They're no longer them anymore, and then they get reincarnated again every couple of years. So maybe there's some books y'all want to check out. Have y'all heard of any of those? No.
No, but if you put them in the chat, I'll be adding it to my extensive list, and I will be buying all of these books for Christmas for myself.
Thank you kindly.
Okay. I'll do them. I'll do the links too. I like putting spins on. I like making everybody like kick ass. They can like wield a sword. They can really fight or something like that. I think those things are cool. What is that show or book? I think that they're both. They use the crystals to like draw the runes on their skin, or they used it as a weapon. I can't. The immortal instrument. Yeah, the immortal instrument. Yeah, the immortal instrument. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, really? I didn't know you could use it for that. Okay, let me see if I can. But I shouldn't.
You can use it for you can use anything for anything, really, because I think Brandon Sanderson in, I think it was, what is it, Warbringer or something. And he had his character using colors from objects as their power. So the character can drain, I think it's Warbringer, Brandon Sanderson. So in order for them to use like an ability or something, I think Warbreaker, that's what it is. They can drain the color from an object like a piece of clothing or cloth or some other item, and that would give them the ability to do whatever they need to do. It was kind of weird, in a way, to me, but it was an interesting take.
There was a series on WGN before they stopped it. It was called The Outsiders. One of the things that I do love is that when someone takes bits of Americana and then makes it, I guess, mystical in some way. So this was a family who lived in the Ozarks, and so they're very much separated from from what we would consider modern reality. So their life is completely different, but every once in a while they would come into town, start trouble, and then head back up the mountain. And one of the things that I thought that they did that I wish they had touched on more during that series, and they may not have had enough time to, was that the family, they were so in tune with the nature around them since they lived off of the land that they kind of gained power. So there was like one moment in the series where a really traumatic event happened, but then the whole family that was in the mountains, they stepped outside and then they started looking up into the sky, and then it started raining all of a sudden. And like it was a very powerful scene, but I wish that they had played up more of the mystical side. Like if that's another series that I wish that I had been able to be a part of, because I would have liked to have made it a little bit more paranormal. Like I wouldn't have changed the modern aspect of the show, but just adding that little bit of the mystical part of being that close to and having that relationship with the nature around you, I think it would have made it a better TV series. And that's something that I also appreciate when you read in books, is that they take something that is very mundane and then like, okay, this is the reason it's mundane. So it has to stay mundane because otherwise all of this magic stuff would start wrecking shop everywhere around it. So there's always this reason why, well, this person's boring. Yes, but they can destroy the whole universe if they smile. So I need, like I said, I enjoy watching how people take something very innocuous and then being like, we're going to break every one of these rules and then we're going to put magic on it. And I thank y'all for that, for those of you who appreciate it.
Did you like Fast Color? Is it? I think it's called Fast Color.
That sounds familiar. Is that with the little girl or something?
Yeah, it's like 3 generations of women.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're
It
called
was
witches, but there's something, and they basically can like they can use color particles, and I don't know where their magic comes from. I just saw like like color powder floating around in the air, and then like the little girl, she can like take things apart and then put them back together. That was a pretty cool movie.
What I
would
like
do a
about
sequel.
it is how they kind of had the family deal with trauma. So you can't let anybody know that this is happening. You can't share those things with other people. So you have to kind of keep it insular. And I felt that it was kind of a metaphor for how we deal with, that our business is our business sort of situation. And I appreciated how they handled that in that show.
I did.
I just didn't like how it ended. It was like kind of lackluster, anticlimactic for me.
It did, but I thought that maybe they were doing that for the purpose of having another show. I mean, because the whole thing was like I'm sorry if y'all hadn't read it. I mean, haven't watched it, but she was like, her mother finally told her, like, yeah, the lady you've been corresponding with is real. Like, go find her so she can help you develop your powers. And then, like, no, but like the people who made the movie really didn't give it any press. So I'm pretty sure that they're probably not going to make a sequel to it. Oh, okay.
Can't blame her parrot this time.
There. And I feel like we should talk about that.
Did y'all hear it though?
Yeah.
I was like,
second time that something's happened.
It's not in my house. It's outside somewhere. So I don't know what's going on. I'm like, Amanda, listen.
At least you were telling you real time. Amanda was going to let me get got before she said, oh my God, I loved her. Oh. The review I'm going to leave on your book, madam.
Oh God, no.
Hey, look, we're gonna be the ones up there. I don't know what that reviewer was talking about, but this book is amazing.
Write it as I get got, so it's going to be like ... and it's not going to get finished, but it's going to be scathing for those 3 sentences.
Oh gosh. We are coming up on time. So do y'all want to talk? I know we barely even got through our list. I think we said 1, 2.
I think we did a couple.
We did do a couple. My favorites from the list, I'm not gonna lie, are the like the religious deities. I just have a fascination with the serial killers and then angels and demons. So those are my favorites on that list.
I love how serial killers is on the same list as angels. Just like all of these things.
I love like different pantheons and stuff. One of my favorite classes in college was we talked about like different pantheons. We talked about Beowulf, we talked about Gilgamesh, then we did like a whole thing on Greek mythology and then Roman mythology, and then we popped over into like Celtic gods, and it was just so cool. I love learning about all of the different like pantheons, and because it's not just the gods, it's like all of the myths around them, like Zeus is trash and Poseidon really loves Persephone, and that's how we get the seasons and all this kind of stuff. It's yeah, I'm with you on that. I also love serial killers.
Is that Zeus is trash. Just like,
and all of them. There's not one reincarnation where he is just like, oh, okay, hey Zeus. Sorry, who else is next? Who wants to give their favorite?
I don't think Amanda was finished. I think I interrupted her.
Oh, sorry.
No, I said that, and then I was like, and I also do have a love for serial killers because I also love serial killers.
That was so funny to me.
Serial killers are this is the book I'm reading right now. Can y'all see? Evil Women. It's not as great as I thought it would be, but it's pretty cool. Now, y'all want to tell your favorites? Well,
Sheena.
Brittny just smiling, so I feel like she's got something to say.
Now we know you,
just
Sheena.
following the whole show. I don't know what is going over there in her life, but
I like pretty much everything on this list, and I think that's just simply because I enjoy speculative fiction of all types. Like if I had to choose something, I guess it would probably be the Leprechaun, simply because I enjoy fairies. I really like fairies, but every incarnation of leprechauns that I've seen in modern media is so different from the other. So you have leprechauns in the hood. You have the Mad Sweeney from American Gods. Like they're completely polar opposite ends of what it could be. But somebody looked at this character and said, we're going to make this different. We're going to do this. I mean, even if they all standardly have like red hair and they wear a lot of green, they're all very different in how they're interpreted for each person. Like I've never seen a leprechaun story where the leprechaun was the exact same as the last one. Like everyone's a different story. That Leprechaun in the Hood was trash though. Don't watch that. Just saying. Don't do that. You're gonna be
we all had to watch it growing up. Y'all better watch it too.
That rite of passage.
You said it, and internally I was like,
It's one of those movies that you really don't want to admit that you watch. You're like, oh yeah. Yes.
I know we all have seen it. At least a piece of it. Come on.
When he started rapping, I was out. I was done. I was like, I forget this whole movie.
Yes.
But you know that's why people would like recommend it to other friends. They'd be like, yo, they got a rapping leprechaun though?
Okay. Brittny, did you have something in closing?
Wait, quick question before we move on. Did y'all watch Vampire in the Bronx versus the Bronx yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. It's actually very cute, surprisingly. I don't know if that's the word I should use, but I was just like, oh, okay, I see what y'all did there. I wasn't mad at it.
Let my kids watch it?
Huh?
Can I let my kids watch it? They've seen like the Avengers and all that. So is it on that level or is it a little bit more gruesome?
No, like it would be something my mom would let me watch, but to be fair, my mom will let me watch a lot of things like I probably shouldn't have been watching, like Conan the Barbarian, etc. So I would be cool, but I wouldn't see any problem with it. Like maybe, I don't know, how old are your kids?
6 and 4.
That might be a little young, maybe.
Okay. Ben keeps asking. I'm like, I need to watch this movie before I say, yeah, you can watch it. So let me.
Yeah, like if they were 11 or 12, I'd be like, yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Brittny, don't think we're gonna let this show end because she was ending it and I was like, Brittny thinks she whole slick over here.
With that cute smile on her face, like, okay.
I was sitting here being quiet too. It's like, yeah, we got that. I don't have to say a doggone thing.
Hovering over the stop recording button, like.
There's only 4 people on the screen. It's not like we can't see you.
Okay.
I don't understand.
But you might forget. Might forget.
Hey girl, so what's your favorite? What's happening?
She keep trying it.
Just stay trying. She's still trying. Go ahead. We waiting.
Let's be quick. What's your favorite myth?
Well, creature, I guess creature wise, I don't necessarily have a favorite myth. I just like the idea of creating myths and legends of my own just because it's fun. But creature wise, I'm just gonna roll with something on the lighter end, unicorns and pegasi, and the alicorns, I guess, because I don't think they get enough love. The only love they get is if they're like corny, pun unintended. Because I like the more like serious type, like the last unicorn and stuff like that, not necessarily My Little Pony type stuff. So can we give them more serious stories and roles, please?
I'm curious to how we would put like a unicorn in a serious like.
I'm doing one.
I'm doing one now, but Brittny, are you going to be showing us this?
Yeah, this is the work in progress I'm working on. So I'll give you more details after the live is over.
Brittany's like, I'm not letting nothing spill.
Like, you're not gonna catch me slipping this Friday, even though I'm tired. I may be tired, but I'm not slipping.
Okay, she is on it every time. We all just like letting all the secrets spill. Really like, nah. Oh, this is good. All right, y'all. This is our time. The Right Talk really doesn't have anything to promote by the time this show actually appears on YouTube. So yeah, we're just gonna let Amanda like plug her stuff. And check out our IG. That's where you will find all of our updates whenever we have the live shows, whenever other shows are going to be put on the YouTube channel itself. Anything surprising that's happening, it's probably going to be on IG. So, and it's on the Right Talks IG, not necessarily our individual ones, but please follow us everywhere because we all write amazing stuff.
Like, tag, and subscribe.
Please.
Plug.
Go ahead, Amanda. Plug.
Yeah. Get your copy of To a Stare with Love today. It is on Amazon. If you want to know more about it, follow me on Instagram. You can at Amanda the author, 2 E's, like Megan Thee Stallion, and you can find my book trailer. Yes.
Finding all kinds of things today.
If you want, you can check out the book trailer. It's on my Instagram, and you can learn a little bit more, see a little bit more into the world there. And yeah, I post like fun stuff. I post about my book. I post quotes, stuff about fantasy. I'm just a big nerd who likes to play around on Canva and post on Instagram. So there you go. Follow me.
Nice. Come on, Sheena. You gonna tell people where to find your story about these unicorns, or we just gonna sit there and pretend like
He called you out.
I know, right? For no reason. Like, I've been participating this whole time, but we not calling out Brittny over there. I feel a little mistreated.
Brittny is tight-lipped about her work, so we're gonna let her just chill until she brings it out. You know, we're gonna annoy her until she lets us read it.
And when she does, I'm gonna be like page by page. So what happened on page 96? For those of you who haven't been here for this time.
So what you're saying is this is going to be like an episode topic, Brittny's work, to where
it's going to be a revenge
read by Sheena.
The right revenge.
Wear your glasses.
Like, Sheena, that is not what we're talking about. That's an revenge.
Gonna bring it up in the middle of whatever we're talking about. Girl, I'm on page 102 of Brittny's new work, and
I'm like, Sheena, bring it back.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm sorry. So yes, find me at thewriterscrush.com. It's the little section. It's the blog. It's called Crushed It. I'm not crushing anything. I'm just like real time writing a book. So that means If you see typos, if you see things that don't make any sense, it's okay because it didn't make any sense to me. But so far, it's been linear, and I haven't had too many typos. Just FYI, I'm writing it real time, so I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm excited about it. We are on chapter 6, so we'll see how many chapters is going to come out.
There we go. All right. Good night. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for coming, Amanda.
Keep writing.
Always a pleasure,
Keep being
ladies.
inspired.